All right. First of all, proud of our guys. Good road win. Really felt like our guys were ready. First noon kickoff on the road, and everybody felt like had really good energy. Obviously, didn't play as well as we wanted to at our last away game, so that was something we wanted to get corrected, and felt like our guys did a good job. Offensively, just got off to a slow start there on the first drive. Felt like it had a really good drive going, opening up with the first big explosive run. Got down there in the red zone, and we had a critical penalty there backing us up that kind of stalled that drive. And then the two interceptions obviously hurt us down there in the red zone. But really from that point forward, I felt like we executed well and kind of took control. I felt like the 2-minute drive right before half was huge, going from a 10-3 to 17-3. I felt like that was really good execution and gave us a lot of momentum going into the second half. 2 weeks in a row, running the ball very well, 298 yards rushing. Offensive line's playing very well. I think we got 5 sacks on the year through 7 games, which is the best we've had around here in a long time. I think last year at this time we had 12 sacks. The year before we had 18 sacks after 7 games. So that group up front and the backs and quarterback are doing a really good job of staying out of that negative yardage in the sacks. And feel like we're improving. Still got some things to clean up like we will have every week. But I like the trajectory of where we're headed. BC, obviously every year you play them, you know what you're going to get. A physical, tough group, very well coached. They're going to be in the right positions. I think they do a great job the way that they coordinate their defense, give you a lot of different looks, especially on third down, and they make you earn everything that you get. You don't see a lot of busted assignments or anything like that. These guys are smart players and play extremely hard, so we'll be looking forward to that challenge here Saturday night in Death Valley.
Jeff, Travis has looked more like the Travis we're used to seeing in the last few games. You mentioned after the Louisville game that he kind of thought he had to get back to some of the details and maybe he'd gotten away from the smaller things. And what does he kind of maybe mean by that, do you feel, and what does he do?
Well, I think really everybody, that's been a point of emphasis. Anytime that you've had the success that we've had as a team and, for us specifically as an offense and for the guys specifically as a player, you can kind of go out every week and sometimes you don't quite have the attention to detail and the focus on the little things. For a guy like Travis, he's so fast and so explosive. Sometimes the hardest thing for him is to slow down and to wait for the pulling guard to get in front of him so he can get inside of him and not just get the ball and take off and leave his blockers. So just little things like that, or maybe it's the footwork and the timing of the mesh with the quarterback and how that sets up his blocks and who he's reading and those type of things. But Travis is a guy that, obviously he got challenged there against North Carolina and, got ran over there on a blitz. And, but he's been a guy beginning of the year. He got off to a really good start. But these last 2 weeks, he's played extremely well. And, Coach Sweeney talks all the time, for us to be our best players have to play well. And that's a challenge to everybody, and I really feel like Travis has done a great job with that.
Jeff, those 2 touchdown throws in the second quarter were taking a chance, being aggressive, throwing the ball up. Has it been, kind of a challenge to, evaluate it a little bit, like with Trevor?
Yeah, the first touchdown pass really was not, he had to step up because the edge rusher. But, that's really where we want to throw that ball. That's a back end line, the one we hit and got on. So that really was not, putting the ball in danger. That's really, you want to throw it up near the crossbar of the goalpost, and Ngata went up, and it was a great throw, great catch, and a good finish. Now, the one right before half, that was not exactly how you kind of coach it up, but, he has a lot of trust in his wideouts. He wanted to give right before half. I know there's in a situation where maybe we wanted to get a field goal if we couldn't make something happen. So he took a chance, throw it up there to Ross, and Ross went up, made a great catch. As a coach, you'd always like to say whoa more than sick 'em. We've had guys in the past that you're challenging, hey, throw it up. You don't have to be wide open. But, with guys like Trevor and guys like Deshaun who are used to making spectacular plays, they make a lot of those, and then sometimes that can get them in trouble. Similar to the interceptions that we had on the other end, where we got to be smarter and check the ball down. I think Trevor got a minus and a plus there on that last touchdown right before half. But yeah, it's really just kind of understanding the situation of when to take chances. And, biggest thing is, Trevor had about 4 poor decisions in the game. 2 of them were the interceptions. One interception he threw, T fell down or got knocked down or something happened there. And then the other one was just a really poor decision. Should have waited for T to come from the field and be open there in the zone. But, what we talk to our quarterbacks about, I know Coach Streeter does a great job with those guys. And, the 3 biggest things that we talk to Trevor and our quarterbacks about is, number 1, how you respond to adversity. Number 2, having physical and mental toughness. And number 3, being the leader of the offense. And Trevor's done an outstanding job in all 3 of those areas this year. He just got to eliminate some of those poor decisions, throwing the ball up into some coverage looks, and understanding that it's okay just to check it down to the back and take that base hit every once in a while. And, very, very similar to where we were with Deshaun. Deshaun, those guys that are gunslingers, and they've had a lot of success throughout their career of throwing those balls into tight windows to their wideouts. And, when it doesn't go well, then it's a very poor decision. Then when it does go well, like the one right before halftime, then, everybody's happy about it. But as a coach, you got to kind of reel it back in and understand when the right time is to make those throws. So hope that answers your question.
Jeff, Trevor seems like he is calm all the time and can handle absolutely everything coming his way. But he's still a teenager. So do you or Coach Streeter worry about, hey, when all this negative attention comes his way, how he's able to handle it and keep his mind straight?
Well, I think that's one thing that's been impressive. You really don't want to go through kind of what we've gone through with, throwing some of the interceptions that we've thrown. But the way that he's responded, during those moments, and Coach Sweeney, that's a big challenge. It's okay, bad things happen. That was really bad. Now what happens after that? So I think after the 2 interceptions that he threw, he went 9 for 9 on his next 9 throws. Now, we don't want to make a living of having to get into that and then come out of it. But I would just say, I haven't seen out of – and this, he really didn't have much adversity at all last year, kind of coming off the bench, becoming the guy, and really everything went his way, which is not real world at any level for any player. So now this is the first time that he's had, some bad plays and some bad moments. But, man, I'm just super impressed the way that he has responded. After that last interception, which we had 2 interceptions within about 3 plays, he's over there walking down, talking to the wideouts and talking to the O-line about, hey, that's on me. We're going to get this going. And the whole offense responds. You don't see anybody, with their head down and oh, here we go again or anything like that. And then we just kind of respond and come out of that. So I think, that's something that's been very impressive with the way that he's handled that. And I know he works extremely hard. It'd be one of these things if he wasn't working hard in practice or, was lazy here and there. But, he's working extremely hard, and he's just got to, learn from some of the situations that he's been in and, understand it's okay to check that ball down every once in a while. And it's pretty appetizing, some of them guys we have downfield that he, has a look when he's wanting to throw it up to number 5 or number 8. Sometimes that's hard to sit there and just go check it down, but that's what you got to do, kind of manage some of the situations a little bit better. But he's being coached just like every other player, but there's not any concern whatsoever in our building or anything like that. we'd take him over any quarterback in the country. I wish we could sign him up for about an 8-year contract right now. We'd do it.
With the success he had last year and the way just beating Alabama and everything, did you ever wonder if you would ever face some of this type of?
Yeah, I mean, I think I answered that a little bit in the preseason. You know, we kind of got those questions like, oh my gosh, you know, how in the world is anybody going to be able to stop y'all? And I think if you go back to the tape, I said, it's not going to be as easy as everybody thinks. You know, there's a bullseye on your back, and these other people have good coaches too. There's a lot of video that they have, and they're going to do a lot of different things, and you got to kind of battle from that. So I'm not surprised that he's, you know, had to face some adversity, because I mean, everybody does at some point in their career. I mean, it's a completely different position, but you think about Sammy Watkins' freshman year. I mean, he could do no wrong. And then his sophomore year, you know, he had some things he had to work through, and then bounced back and had an unbelievable junior year. So that's just kind of life. That's football. That's sports. But the biggest thing is, how do you respond to it? You know, do you let, you know, 1 or 2 bad plays, you know, kind of ruin the rest of the game, or do you come out of that? And, you know, that's probably the brightest part of that so far.
On the first pick, was Amari, was he supposed to, it didn't look like he was looking ready for the ball.
Yeah.
Looking for it.
It really was not supposed to go there. It was supposed to come to T. Amari was clearing out, and it was supposed to come to T kind of in that next window. You know, Trevor just thought Amari looked open there for a half a second, and didn't see that backside safety that was coming over.
Dabo mentioned, I think yesterday, that the wide receivers aren't maybe up to par in the screen game.
Right.
You mentioned a couple instances.
Yeah.
Is there anything there?
Yeah, just really the details of it. We on the first screen early where we threw it out there to Travis, Justin Ross missed his block, had a crack block he missed, and then also we tried to throw another perimeter screen over there to Justin. We just had our timing off over there in the boundary. So, you know, screens are all about precision, timing, spacing, all those type of things, and there's just a few details we were off just a little bit from, you know, allowing some of those plays to go for big plays. And those are the things that you see when you come in on Sunday and grade the tape. You know, there's always going to be those things, but, you know, I think it's good for our team to know, and for our offense to know that, yeah, we scored 45 points, but there's a lot of points that we're leaving out there, and really it just comes down to executing the finer details of what we're trying to do.
How is T from a health standpoint?
Yeah, T's good. You know, he was early in the week, he was kind of held up a little bit, and he knocked knees there at some point in the game, but I think he's fine and be practicing today.
With him not starting the second half, was that something?
Yeah, he on that last play where Justin went up and called it, T just kind of banged knees with one of their defenders right there, and so he was just kind of working that out. So I gave him a series just to kind of loosen it up on the side. He'd been sitting in the locker room for 20 minutes and just loosen that up. So that was really all that was. But he came back in and played a little bit more until it was time for those other guys to go in.
Jeff, I know you guys don't care about anything on the outside.
Come on.
But is it at all frustrating that you guys win games, a couple of them by big margins, and you slide as in the polls as we get closer to the poll that's really going to matter?
To be honest, we have fun with it. We were joking on the bus on the way back. I wonder how far we'll slide now. You know, winning. I think somebody told me yesterday we've won 5 games by 31 points or more. And, you know, I think you look at Bama's number 1. They've won 3, and 2 of them were versus group of 5. You know, it's not really the rhetoric that we're seeing out there. So, you know, I think it's just natural when you've won as many games as we've won. I mean, I can remember, you know, as a college football fan, you know, that gets old at some point whenever somebody else is winning that much. And so it's just natural. For us, you know, really we just kind of laugh about it and joke around about it. You know, somebody was saying the other day, if we keep winning at this rate, we'll be out of the top 10 by December, you know. And so it's really something we just kind of laugh about a little bit. But truthfully, what we know is we've been here before. We trust our plan. We trust our preparation, and that if we just stay focused and locked in, keep two hands on the wheel, and focus on what matters. It's going 1-0 this week. Winning our division is our next goal. It's worked out for us every year that we've been able to stay focused on that, and so we really have zero concern that it won't work out this year if we stay focused. And it's hard enough getting ready for one opponent every week, and if you're worried about playing that opponent and 4 other opponents out there, you're not going to be your best. And so I think that's one reason we've had the consistency that we've had over the last 4 years, is that other than maybe just seeing it and kind of laughing about things out there, our guys truly have stayed locked in and focused on doing our part. And then to everybody's disappointment, we show up in December and we're where we want to be, and that's just kind of what it kind of feels like is probably going to happen this year if we'll stay focused and take care of our business.
Given that as coaches you like to have the chip on the shoulder of your players and do everything you can to keep it, is it a positive in that sense that you're coming off a championship, you've won 22 straight games, and yet you might have justified reason to be on the Roy bus or whatever?
Yeah, I mean, it just feels like that's kind of been our position, and it's worked well for us. So, I mean, I think if the shoe fits, wear it. We're that horse is kind of waiting right back there, and then all of a sudden we start making our gains when it really matters here. We get into that championship phase, and so I mean, it's really not something that's talked about a whole lot. Our guys know. We got a lot of guys. We do have a young team. We got some new guys we got to educate and keep them kind of informed on what really matters. But we also have a lot of experienced guys that know that if we'll stay locked into our formula and stay focused, that we're going to have a great chance to be where we want to be at the end.
You guys went 4 wide on that drive before half. I don't know how many times you guys have gone to that set this year. Is that something just completely situational?
Yeah, we've done a little bit more 4 wides this year at certain times, third down especially, when most times people know you're going to throw it, and then especially in 2-minute situations, we've kind of done that. So that was more of a situational deal, being there in 2-minute. And then we had a few other plays in the game maybe where we were in some 4 wides, running some draws and some different things as well. It was good to be able to go out and execute that. I mean, it's talked about a lot. That last drive before halftime is a very important drive, and there's a big momentum swing from them being down there, having a chance to score, to us being able to go score and then get the ball back and hopefully take over in the third quarter.
You mentioned having fun with the rankings. It seems like that was always looking for, whether it be the boy bus or whatever, the ways to kind of motivate and say he had some fun with that.
I mean, it's really, Coach Sweeney can find a way when you're the number 1 team to have fun and keep that edge, and it's important because it is, when you've won as many games as we've won, you got to fight human nature, which is to kind of relax and think it's just going to happen. And so I think that's the kind of art of coaching, is to always find a way. And it's not a bunch of high school propaganda or stuff. I mean, I can remember being a high school coach, and I'd get on Microsoft Word or something and make up my own article or something. The good news is we don't have to do that. There's plenty out there, but Coach will do that just a little bit, but really he kind of keeps it all about us. But I will say that one of Coach Sweeney's strengths is he finds a way week in and week out to have our guys kind of play, have that edge. And I think you don't have the consistency that we've had over the last 4 years, if you don't. And so, some weeks that may include, showing a clip or something here or there. But most of the time it's really just reminding our guys what really matters is, what we think, what we know, what we see on video. And hey, nobody's saying that we haven't screwed up or we don't have things to correct. We do. We've got to get better to go where we want to go. But the outside noise, whether it's good or bad, at this point is just a distraction. And we're kind of coming into that second half of that season when we got to really be locked in and stay focused.
Does it get bothersome at all when people think that, hey, playing an ACC team is not as valuable as a SEC game or a Big Ten game or something like that.
You
Is
know,
that disrespect to the league? That
yeah,
you guys not do it?
yeah. I mean, I think maybe 5 or 6 years ago, when that was really heavy, I think it bothered us a little bit. And Coach Sweeney said, "Hey, we're going to have to be the ones to change the rhetoric." And I think winning 2 out of the last 3, we've kind of changed that to a certain extent. But you know, outside of about 8 or 10 teams, I feel like the next 11 through 50 are all about the same. You know, they're good players and good coaches, and they're good enough to beat you if you don't come out and play up to your standard. So, you know, I really don't get caught up in that. I feel like our league every year, you know, you go back and look at the bowl games and all that stuff, it stands up for itself. Coach Sweeney does a great job of pointing that out. But, I mean, there's not, maybe from a outside perspective, there look like there's games that are just kind of gimme wins. But, I mean, I think you can look all over the country. You can pull up a lot of different games, and you know, there's a lot of parity among the leagues. You know, I mean, I don't want to get too far into it, but you got to be careful. But I would just say that we feel like we're in a very competitive league, and I mean, we've proven it. You know, look at a team like North Carolina. I mean, if you don't come out and play your A game, then, you know, this game against Louisville, there was a couple chances we could have let that be a lot closer game, and who knows, it gets in the second half where that would go. So I don't feel like we have to apologize to anybody for the league that we're in, and, you know, we still got some big games left on our schedule to be able to accomplish the goals that we have ahead of us.
What are some of the things you'd write in those clever stuff words?
Oh gosh, yeah, that was years ago. You know, I mean, it was just always you as a coach. This is in high school. Know which players need to be challenged a little bit more than others. So you know, maybe we talked about our offensive line. You know, them guys will get all bent out of shape. You know, somebody says that they're soft or something like that, but. You know, I just remember at Blythewood, you know, being the head coach, I always, every week, was looking for a little something, bulletin board material, and I never used any copyright infringement. I will say that. For whatever reason, whatever, you know, it was always kind of cut off on what I cut out for my little article that I used. But I just laugh at it now because of all the media and all the access that we have. I mean, it doesn't matter who you are. You can find somebody that's, you know, taking a shot at some of your guys. And so it's really easy to find that. And, you know, it's just a balance as a coach of, you know, using a little bit of that maybe to kind of keep your guys fired up and going. But, you know, at the same time, reminding them that it's really not about the outside noise, and it's really just about, you know, our focus. And you know, we're a good enough team that if we stay locked in and worry about improving each week, then, you know, everything will take care of itself.
Some of your former players from Blythewood know you did that.
Yeah, I'm sure they probably knew at the time, just played along with it, to be honest.